Before we begin this emotional journey of love, please subscribe to our channel and ring that notification bell. Your support helps us bring you more heartfelt African stories. Now, let's dive into a tale that will touch your soul. The old clay pot slipped from Pearl's trembling hands, shattering into 1,000 pieces on the hard earth. Each fragment seemed to echo the state of her own broken heart. At 23, her hands bore the scars of endless chores, her eyes held the weight of unshed tears, and her spirit carried burdens no child should know. "You worthless girl!" Mama Kessie's voice cut through the morning air like a whip. "Look what you've done! That pot was worth more than you'll ever be!" Pearl knelt quickly, gathering the broken pieces with bleeding fingers. "I'm sorry, Mama Kessie. I didn't mean to—" "Sorry doesn't fix anything." The older woman's hand struck Pearl's cheek with a sharp crack. "Your mother should have taken you with her when she died. You're nothing but a curse on this family." From the doorway, Django watched with tired eyes. At 20, Pearl's stepsister had grown used to these scenes, but her heart still ached for the girl she'd come to love as a true sister. "Mama, please," Django whispered. "It was just an accident." "Don't you dare defend her!" Kessie spun around, her eyes blazing. "She needs to learn her place in this house. She eats our food, sleeps under our roof, and this is how she repays us?" Papa Mwangi sat in his chair, reading his newspaper as if the world around him didn't exist. The man who once held Pearl on his shoulders and called her his little sunshine now seemed blind to her existence. His second wife had slowly poisoned his mind against his own daughter, and grief over his first wife's death had made him weak. "Papa," Pearl's voice was barely a whisper, "I'll work extra today. I'll fetch water twice, clean the whole house, and—" "Stop sniveling," Kessie interrupted. "Get to the river before the sun gets too high, and don't come back without 3 full pots of water. Maybe carrying extra weight will teach you to be more careful." As Pearl gathered the heavy clay pots, Django slipped beside her. "I'm sorry," she whispered, pressing a small piece of bread into Pearl's hand. "I saved it from breakfast." Pearl's eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, sister." "One day," Django whispered even lower, "things will be different. I promise." The path to the river was long and dusty. Pearl's feet, calloused from years of walking barefoot, moved mechanically along the familiar route. The weight of the empty pots seemed heavier today, matching the weight in her chest. She thought of her mother, Mama Nima, who had died when Pearl was only 10. Beautiful, kind Mama Nima, who used to sing while braiding Pearl's hair and tell her stories of brave African queens who conquered kingdoms with their wisdom and courage. "You have the heart of a queen, my daughter," her mother used to say. "Never let anyone make you forget that." But it was hard to remember those words when every day brought new humiliation. The river was peaceful this morning, its waters flowing gently over smooth stones. Pearl knelt at the bank, filling the first pot when she heard a low groan nearby. Her heart jumped. Behind a cluster of acacia trees, she saw the outline of a person lying motionless on the ground. "Hello?" she called softly, fear making her voice shake. "Are you all right?" When no answer came, she crept closer. A young man, perhaps in his mid-20s, lay unconscious among the bushes. His clothes, though torn and dirty, looked expensive. Blood trickled from a wound on his forehead, and his breathing was shallow. Pearl looked around frantically. She should run home, tell Papa Mwangi, get help. But something in the man's face, peaceful despite his injuries, made her hesitate. "Sir, can you hear me?" She touched his forehead gently. He was burning with fever. Without thinking, she tore a piece from her own worn dress, soaked it in the cool river water, and placed it on his forehead. His eyes fluttered open for a moment, dark and confused. "Water," he whispered. Pearl cupped river water in her hands, letting a few drops fall into his mouth. He swallowed gratefully before losing consciousness again. She couldn't leave him here to die. Whatever happened, she couldn't live with that on her conscience. With strength she didn't know she possessed, Pearl managed to half carry, half drag the stranger toward home. He was tall and lean, but unconscious weight was difficult to manage. By the time she reached their compound, sweat poured down her face and her arms shook with exhaustion. "Mama Kessie," she called. "Please help. I found someone who needs—" Kessie emerged from the house, took one look at the unconscious man, and her face twisted with rage. "What is this? What have you brought to my house?" "He was dying by the river. He needs help, medicine. Get him away from here. I won't have strange men in my home." "But Mama Kessie, he could die." The slap came so hard it knocked Pearl to the ground. "I said get him away! Take him somewhere else! And don't you dare come back until you've learned to obey!" Papa Mwangi appeared in the doorway, glanced at the scene with indifference, and went back inside without a word. Django ran to Pearl's side. "Sister, are you hurt?" "Help me," Pearl whispered, struggling to her feet. "There's an old hut behind Mama Fatima's compound. It's been empty for years." Together, the two girls managed to move the stranger to the abandoned hut. It was small, dirty, and leaked when it rained, but it had walls and a roof. "I'll bring blankets," Django promised, "and food when I can steal it." "Thank you," Pearl whispered, already kneeling beside the unconscious man. "What's your name?" she asked softly, not expecting an answer. "I'm Pearl, don't worry. I'll take care of you." For 3 days, Pearl divided her time between her endless chores at home and caring for the stranger in the hut. She brought him water, cleaned his wounds, and spoke to him softly even though he rarely responded. On the 4th day, his fever finally broke. Where am I?" His voice was hoarse but alert. Pearl, who had been dozing against the wall, startled awake. "You're safe. You were hurt. I found you by the river." The man tried to sit up, wincing. "The river. Yes, I remember. There were men. They wanted—" He stopped, studying Pearl's face in the dim light filtering through the hut's cracks. "You saved me. Anyone would have done the same." "No," he said quietly. "They wouldn't have." His name was Joseph, he told her. He claimed to be a trader who had been robbed on the road. Pearl didn't entirely believe him. His hands were too soft for a trader, his speech too educated, but she didn't press. Each day, as she brought him food and changed his bandages, they talked. Joseph was unlike anyone Pearl had ever met. He listened when she spoke, asked about her dreams, and treated her with a respect she'd almost forgotten existed. "You remind me of the morning sun," he said one afternoon as she cleaned his wounds. "Gentle but strong, bringing light to dark places." Pearl's cheeks warmed. "You're kind to say so." "I'm not being kind. I'm being truthful." His hand covered hers briefly. "Tell me about your family." The kindness in his voice broke something loose in Pearl's chest. She found herself telling him everything about her mother's death, her father's indifference, Kessie's cruelty, and Django's quiet love. "And you stay?" Joseph asked. "Why don't you leave?" "Where would I go? I have nothing, am nothing." "That's not true." His voice was fierce. "You have courage, kindness, intelligence. You're worth more than all of them combined." For the first time in years, Pearl felt something like hope stirring in her chest. By the end of the first week, Joseph was strong enough to walk short distances. Pearl began to dread the day he would leave. Their conversations had become the brightest part of her days. But fate had other plans. "There are notices posted all over town," Django whispered urgently as she helped Pearl carry water to the hut. "A rich family is offering 1,000,000 shillings reward for their missing son. The Mwema family, They own banks and factories. Their son disappeared a week ago. Pearl's blood turned cold. The timing was too perfect to be coincidence. "Django," she said slowly, "what did the notices say the son looked like?" "Tall, dark, educated, about 25 years old. There's even a photograph posted at the market." That evening, Pearl confronted Joseph. "Who are you really?" He was quiet for a long time. Finally, he sighed. "My name is Joseph Moema. My family, they're wealthy. Too wealthy. I have enemies who want to hurt my family through me." "The men who attacked you?" "They work for a rival businessman. They planned to kidnap me, demand ransom. When I fought back..." He touched the healing wound on his forehead. "I escaped, but barely." "There's a reward," Pearl whispered. "1 million shillings. Joseph's face went pale. "You could claim it, take the money and leave this place forever." "Is that what you think of me?" The hurt in Pearl's voice was raw. "That I saved you just to sell you later?" "No, My family doesn't know who you are. Only Django knows about the reward, and she would never..." Pearl stopped. "But if others find out..." They stared at each other in the flickering candlelight, both understanding the danger. "I should leave," Joseph said. "Tonight. I've put you in enough danger." "No." The word came out fiercer than Pearl intended. "You're still healing. And besides..." She looked down at her hands. "I don't want you to go." Joseph reached out, tilting her chin up until their eyes met. "Pearl, The sound of voices outside made them both freeze. "Search everywhere!" Kessie's voice carried clearly through the night air. "He has to be around here somewhere!" Pearl's heart stopped. Through a crack in the wall, she could see torches moving through the darkness. Papa Mwangi was there, along with several men from the village. "Someone told her," Pearl whispered. "Someone saw me coming here." "Hide," Joseph urged. "Let them take me. The reward money. Your family needs it." "Never." "Pearl, be practical." "I said never." Her voice was fierce. "You think money can replace what you've given me? For the first time in years, someone sees me as human. You think I'd trade that for coins?" The voices were getting closer. "There's a back way out," Pearl said quickly. "Through the old mango grove. Can you run?" "Yes, but..." "Then we run together." They slipped out the back of the hut just as torches appeared at the front entrance. In the darkness, they stumbled through the grove, Joseph's arm around Pearl's shoulders for support. Behind them, Kessie's angry shouts filled the night. "Find them! They can't have gone far!" They ran until they reached the main road, where Joseph flagged down a passing truck. The driver, recognizing Joseph despite his rough appearance, immediately offered help. "Take us to town," Joseph said. "Quickly." As the truck pulled away, Pearl looked back at the only home she'd ever known, disappearing into the darkness. "I'm sorry," Joseph said softly. "I've cost you everything." "No," Pearl replied, her hand finding his in the darkness. "You've given me everything." The Moema family compound was like nothing Pearl had ever imagined. Tall gates, beautiful gardens, and a house so large it could hold her entire village. As their car approached, Pearl's courage began to falter. "I don't belong here," she whispered. "You belong wherever I am," Joseph said firmly, squeezing her hand. The reunion between Joseph and his family was emotional. His mother, Mama Sarah, wept openly while his father, Baba Joseph, tried to maintain composure but failed. "We thought we'd lost you," Mama Sarah sobbed. "When you didn't come home, when we found your car abandoned." "I'm safe, Mama, thanks to her." Joseph pulled Pearl forward. "This is Pearl. She saved my life." The family's gratitude was overwhelming. They offered her clothes, food, a room, anything she needed. but Pearl felt lost in their kindness, uncertain of her place. That evening, as she sat in a beautiful bedroom that was larger than her entire former home, Django appeared at the door. "Sister!" Django rushed into the room, tears streaming down her face. "Django! How did you—" "Joseph sent a car for me. He said you'd want me here." Django looked around the luxurious room in amazement. "Sister, you did it. You escaped. What about Mama Kessie? Papa?" Django's face darkened. "When they found the empty hut, Mama went into a rage. She blamed Papa for not watching you closer, blamed me for helping you. She said terrible things. And Papa? He finally opened his eyes when he realized you were really gone, that you might never come back." Django wiped her tears. "He started crying, sister. He said he failed as a father, that grief made him forget his first duty was to protect his daughter." "And Mama Kessie?" "I told her I was leaving, that her greed cost her everything. You, the reward money, everything. She's alone now, sister. Alone with her bitter heart." 3 months later, Pearl stood in the same beautiful bedroom, but now it truly felt like home. She had learned to read and write with the help of tutors. She spoke with confidence in family meetings. Most importantly, she had learned to see herself the way Joseph saw her, as someone worthy of love and respect. "Are you ready?" Django asked, adjusting the traditional African dress that Mama Sarah had chosen for the occasion. "I think so," Pearl replied, her reflection showing a young woman transformed not by wealth, but by love and respect. Today was the day Joseph would formally ask for her hand in marriage, following traditional customs. But first, there was something she needed to do. The car ride back to her childhood home felt like traveling to another world. When they arrived at the small compound, Pearl was shocked by how run down everything looked. Had it always been this way? Papa Mwangi came out of the house, his face a mixture of hope and shame. He had aged years in just months. "My daughter," he said quietly. "You came back." "Hello, Papa." He struggled with words. "I failed you. I let grief make me weak, let another woman's poison turn me against my own child. Can you ever forgive a foolish old man?" Pearl studied her father's face, seeing genuine remorse there. "I forgive you, Papa, but things cannot go back to how they were." I know. He wiped his eyes. "I just want you to be happy. Are you happy?" "Yes, Papa, I am." From inside the house, Kessie appeared. The proud, cruel woman was gone, replaced by someone bitter and broken. "So you came back to gloat?" Kessie's voice was harsh, but there was something defeated in it. "No," Pearl said simply. "I came to say goodbye properly, and to tell you that Django will always have a place with us, if she chooses." "Take her," Kessie said bitterly. "Take everything. You've already destroyed this family." "I didn't destroy anything," Pearl replied calmly. "Greed did, cruelty did. But it's not too late to change." She turned to leave, then paused. "There's a position available at one of Joseph's father's businesses. Office cleaning, good pay. If you want to start over, really start over, the offer is there." Kessie stared at her in shock. "Why would you? After everything?" "Because," Pearl said softly, "my mother taught me that queens are made not by the crowns they wear, but by the mercy they show." Pearl and Joseph got married and had children together. They lived a happy life, and in the evenings, when Pearl tucked her children into bed, she would tell them the same words her mother once told her. "You have the heart of a queen, my child. Never let anyone make you forget that." Did this story touch your heart? Type love in the comment section if you felt the emotions. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more powerful African stories.